Welcome to Be a Voice. I'm Britt Carpenter. This is Usula Media. Thanks for joining me today. As we continue on with our talks about switching gears, I've had a lot of people that I've met throughout my recovery journey and a lot of people that have been on their recovery journey and how they have switched gears many times throughout lives, from wherever they came from to wherever they are now and how they got there. And I'm sitting here today with one of my favorite people that I've gotten to know over the years, that I have just really embraced her energy, her passion, and her commitment to not just her recovery, but others as well. Today, I'm sitting here with a friend of mine and a fellow in recovery. I'm sitting here with Racquel McNichols. Hi, Racquel.
Hi, Britt.
How are you? You know, the funny thing is, once in a while, I just want to say your maiden name. I just want to, instead of McNichols, and then I just like try to block that out, and I don't. But for those who don't know, McNichols is your married name. Your maiden name is?
Fetzer.
There you go. And
Yeah.
that's sort of what, you know, because you've only been married a short time.
Yeah, 2 years.
2 years, but you've been
2.5
together. How long?
7.
It's not a test. It's not like he cares.
No,
He's like, thanks for answering that for me.
I know.
I'm going to write that down.
7 years, and we have a 6-year-old.
Yeah, but that's a good way to remember that. Just add one to David's age, and you're good.
Yep.
Because you're David, your husband, he won't remember either.
No, he won't remember.
And he won't care.
No.
And that's the beauty of it.
I know.
But that's great. And you've been in recovery how many years?
9.
9.
9 years.
9 years.
Yep.
It's a long time.
I know.
It's a long time to be committed to something, isn't it?
It is. I had commitment issues for a long time.
Well, of course you did.
9 years of recovery, 7 years in relationship, 2.5 marriage.
That's
Right.
craziness.
It is.
But
It is.
going back to that, you would never have gotten to this point of marriage and having a 6-year-old if it weren't for your recovery.
No, absolutely.
Because you really aren't that sweet, person sitting in front of me that, that everybody thinks you are.
Yeah. Yeah. Not when I'm drinking and using. No.
So, when we talk about drugs of choice, we talk about it. What was yours?
More alcohol. Yeah. Alcohol, heroin, when it was heroin.
And I'm glad that I got out when I did.
Me too.
Because it just wasn't heroin anymore. It became fentanyl, and all of a sudden it wasn't good anymore. It lost that whole feeling, and not that I'm trying to romanticize it, but like, I'm grateful.
Me too.
I'm grateful.
We're really lucky.
You were really lucky.
We probably wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation if we didn't get out when we did.
Now, and I feel bad sometimes because when I talk to somebody who's just getting out of treatment and and I'm like, heroin. I'm like, and I laugh at them. I'm like, you haven't done heroin.
Right.
Heroin has not been around since like 2018. Mm-hmm. Maybe even before.
I'll Google from time to time, where did the heroin go?
Because it's not at Kip and Cambria anymore.
Nah.
It's not at 5th and Westmoreland.
Not because I'm looking for it, but because genuinely, working in this field, I almost want that back because of what's
out
folks
there
go through now.
You're right. It's scary, isn't it? I think about this, and I think we are, we're in recovery, we're recovering, but where we are now to where people are still in their active addiction, that could be us.
Absolutely.
And that's not drugs anymore. Mm-mm. That's totally on a different level out there. Like the heroin became fentanyl. Fentanyl then became the trank.
Yeah.
And the trank then became the met. And then all of a sudden there's other stuff. And it's like a domino effect with it. And it's not getting better. The quality's not getting better. No,
it's the craziest business model I've ever seen.
It really is.
I'm like, what is the rationale thinking behind this? And
it's interesting to me when I do talk to somebody who's just getting into their recovery and they're young into it, and I say to them, and then they do admit to it. I'm like, well, what was your drug? They're like fent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I never would have thought that in my addiction that I would be saying, fentanyl is what I want.
Right. I know. There were a time I did have some stints with fentanyl patches.
Patches.
Yeah.
Okay.
With the
when
fentanyl.
I said that, I was like, shut up, Britt. Those patches, those are great.
Yeah, I did have, I remember somehow in my heyday coming across a whole bunch of those and,
You must have been reading my mind because when I said that, I was like, except for that patch.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, 9 years is a long time. And you just celebrated 9 years, didn't you?
Yep, in
Recently,
August.
in August.
Yeah.
But all we got is today, right?
That's it.
And you are a person who who does go to the rooms and the meetings.
I do.
You do. And
Yeah.
that's your fellowship.
That's my pathway.
That's your pathway.
It's my medicine.
And you need that.
Yeah.
That's your recovery. Mm-hmm. And do you do it faithfully?
So I do. I have a home group once a week that I attend. Sometimes life shows up, like I might have, an obligation with my son, and I was taught, or maybe he's not feeling well, or once in a blue moon, something might show up for work, because I am pretty careful with having boundaries with work, but there might be something I can't get out of. But I was taught early on that, when we get sober, right? We get sober. And then for me, it was I got sober, and then my own little family came. That was my gifts and my rewards of sobriety. So I can't necessarily, if my son has a soccer game, I can't pick my home group over my son's soccer game. I just can't, because I have to show up for my son. And that's part of my recovery,
Absolutely.
Is being a mom. I'm so grateful that this is the gift I got when I got sober.
Because there's, numerous amounts of meetings on any other day of the week that you could go.
And that's what I'll do. I'll fill in, right? If I miss Thursday night, then I'll fill in another night. And then it's pretty cool, having the ability. I was on a Zoom meeting last night. My sponsee spoke 9 p.m. And it was pretty cool because awesome. I was sitting there and I was listening on the meeting, sitting there on my couch, petting my little corgi, everyone was sleeping, and it was nice, and that's what's really cool about technology and where we are today, because you can do that from anywhere, or if I'm feeling I need something. But even outside of just making meetings, I have my sponsor and my women, my little women in my group that I stay connected with, and do an inventory and send things out for accountability and, stuff like that.
It's interesting you say that about having your own, women's group and, the ladies that you form bonds with, because years ago when we talked about being in recovery and having addiction, it was even more taboo for women to talk about having, an addiction and being in recovery. Everybody always just thought that it were men who went to meetings and men who had this and went through that and did this, because it was one of those, and it was sort of a stigma in
Absolutely.
a way. And now, I don't fuck with the women in recovery, because they're a big group of women. They're a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
They're a powerhouse, and you don't mess with them. They're great people. But it's really cool to see that today.
I agree.
But when I look at years ago and I think about what I see in what I envision was, you never thought about the women.
Yeah.
So to have that type of fellowship.
It's amazing. And the
sisterhood.
women, they are. I always tell, we crack up because my sponsor and my mom a little bit, but my sponsor especially is one of the only women that I will listen to and be all right, I'll be quiet, because I just look up to her so much, and then even other women, there's a few other women that that have molded me and taught me in the very beginning that I just look up to so much, and they are powerhouses. And even if they don't have the same experience of something that I'm going through, they coach me through it. They coach me through going to my higher power and help me to be able to look at why something is happening, right? Not and they pull me up. They're not they won't sit there and gossip with me or go in on it. They'll validate what I'm feeling and then help me figure out a way to move past it. Or to be honest, they'll sit with me through it. That's a big thing. Because you can create resistance when you're just trying to claw your way out of something, and they'll sit with me through it. I saw this quote, I put it on my Facebook story a couple weeks ago, and it was I forget it exactly, but basically it said how much I value the people that held the lamp for me when I was going through something.
I saw that. Yeah.
I forget exactly what it is.
But I know exactly which one you had on
but
your
it's
story.
Shining the light. You know what I mean? While we're going through something, not
carrying that for
pushing me out of it, but just sitting there. And sometimes there's a saying that I've heard in the rooms, show up, use words if you have to. And that's something, that they've taught me to go by, and they do that for me.
It's interesting that, the further I get into my recovery, the more I think I don't need that. The more I think that I don't need to surround myself with that because I'm doing so many other things. I'm so busy. I'm so this. I'm so that. But then I lose a little bit of that spirituality in me.
Yeah.
You know, and I
We
forget.
all do.
Yeah, I know. But that, but the thing is, we know it, but yet we still do it. You know, so it's important to hear this coming from you that, keep that circle there.
Yeah.
Keep those people around because you definitely need them.
And they know because I'm an isolator. I'll still isolate. And they will know. They know me so well, what's going on. They'll give me my space, but then they're like, hey, what's going on? You okay? How's things going over there? Because even with 9 years sober, I can still, I'm a Cancer. So I like to go in my crab shell and retreat, and kind of just try to figure things out until I can't figure them out on my own.
Talking my language, I know all that there.
Yeah.
So, how many years did you, it's been 9 years as of recent. It was August or September?
Yeah, August 5th.
August 5th. Wow. My mom's birthday. I won't forget that now. 9 years in recovery. How long was it in your active addiction? What age did you start that at?
I'm 38. 2 years from 40. I always remind myself of that. So I'm 38. My 30s have been the best years now. And I started drinking and using at 12. So I would say I struggled from 12 to 29.
It's a long
Not good
time.
at math. How many years?
17.
17 years.
17. I had that right away. I was like,
David struggled with math right now, and I'm like, I hear you, bud. I get it. I get it.
I'm not the one to teach you math, son. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Writing, let's write all day, whatever. We could write papers, but not math.
12 years old.
Yeah, 12 years old. Grew up not that far from here,
Yeah, you're
in
local.
Fishtown.
Yeah.
That's how it was. It was easier to get beer and a Percocet than it was a pack of cigarettes, I had that confidence from the start. When I was 12, I looked older, I was pretty, and it was just very easy just to walk into a beer distributor and be like, yep, I'm getting this 30 pack of Miller Lite, or I'm getting this 6 pack of St. Mike's, it was just that easy.
You know how to work it. Mm-hmm. You were a good addict.
Yep. Too good. Too good, too quick.
So it started at 12 years of age. You were drinking, doing that normal Fishtown, Kensington border stuff. It's interesting that the people that come on here, that are from the area, like Danny Gilman, when he comes on and he told his story, he's from the area. It's very much, it's almost like when you talk about that nature nurture sort of thing, it's within that environment too.
Yeah.
It's sort of a learned thing, don't you think?
Absolutely. It is. It's just learned, and it's so socially acceptable. My grandpop was an alcoholic, and I remember he would get cases of Meisterbrow. That was his thing.
Meisterbrow, yeah.
Yeah, delivered to the house. And we had an apartment on top of a deli in Fishtown, and I would go down and meet the beer guy and give him the tip, you know what I mean, or pay for it with the tip, run it up, put it away. And I remember not being able to wait until I could drink, you know what I mean? But my grandpa, he was rough. He was a very rough, very abusive alcoholic. But I would say in my mind was I'm not going to drink like Pop, but I actually ended up worse than him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Interesting. I'm not quite sure that I don't know any alcoholic that wasn't abusive.
Right.
Some are, funny and but that's only a small part of it. Most of it becomes very abusive.
Yeah.
So that's a quality. I know when I drank, I was abusive.
Same.
It just becomes a very nasty thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you were around that with your grandfather. So you grew up with your grandfather.
Yeah, it was me. My mom was a single mom, and my grandparents. And then my aunt would sometimes be there. Sometimes my uncles would come in and out, stuff like that. But for the most part, it was us four. And my mom worked 3 jobs. I didn't know we were poor because I had everything I wanted and needed. I had no idea. In fact, I didn't know I was poor until it came time for my first time to go into treatment. And I told my mom I was going to Malibu Passages. Yeah. And she was like, you're on welfare. You're on Medicaid. I don't know what part. You're going to Kirkbride. That's
She's
it.
Stop watching late night TV.
Yeah.
You are not going to
Even
Passages.
when you lived in Los Angeles, you were there on private student loans. You're not rich. We never have been, but my mom,
she worked her ass off for you.
Absolutely, still does. Today, I'm self-supporting, but and my sister's older now, but she still works hard. And it's like that North Philly like grit. Like that's my mom.
Yeah, and I know your mom, and she's got that grit.
Yeah.
And that feist, and I see where you get it from. It's that spark, it's that fire.
Yeah.
And growing up in in that situation and that aspect, I understand how things happen. So how did it progressively get worse? Because you weren't sort of just that casual person using.
No.
You were a badass.
Yeah, it got pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So it was like, it started off, and for me, like the first time I had a drink, like it wasn't like I felt free when I drank, but then it was also like I fit in. And it was like
I'm accepted.
Everything just fit right. You know what I mean? And I was accepted, and it was just like, all right, and that's how it felt for me, because I was always different. I'm like a book nerd. So although I'm not good at math, I do very well in school. Mm-hmm. So that was how I was able to so where people have sports as competition, school's my competition.
Really?
School is my sport.
So you're a nerd?
I'm still in school. I am a nerd.
Oh, I didn't know that about you. I didn't know that about you.
I am a nerd.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Except you're not good at math.
I'm not good at math.
You suck, sort of. 17 wasn't really that difficult.
I know, and I'm taking it.
29 and 12 wasn't that difficult. I'm sorry.
I know. I know. I had statistics last year for school, and I was like, oh.
I get that. I was an English major, so
Yeah, exactly.
I never took a math course in college.
Yeah.
I doubled up to get out of math.
I hate math.
And one of the first things that I teach out of college was math.
Yeah.
I was like, calculator, please.
I do.
Oh yeah, I can't stand it. So I get that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, you had a journey there ahead of you. You had some rough waters, and
I did.
I want to get into that a little bit, and because it's interesting. You hear all the stories, you hear them about the guys, but you don't really hear that girls are badasses too, and they're in addiction. Sometimes girls are worse than guys in addiction, only because they sort of get away with that smile. I think sometimes, and because they're female. I really think that sometimes
it's true.
People don't look at it like she couldn't have possibly done that.
Yeah,
and you're like, I did.
I know.
And you're from the area, so you know these streets, you know the people, you know what's going on. So tell me.
Yeah.
Tell me about this.
It progressed to you know what I mean? So I'll say this. So it progressed to 19 year, drinking and drugging every weekend, became every day, Percocet. I didn't really get into oxys. I was actually afraid of oxys, but eventually graduated to heroin. But I was doing coke, things like that. And then
I'll blow coke up my nose, but I don't want to take an oxy.
Yeah, I'm not taking that. Yeah, I'm not taking that. And then I moved to Los Angeles, went out there for fashion school.
You went to FITM.
I went to FITM.
Yeah, I knew that about you.
Yeah.
And what an opportunity that is.
I know.
To come from living above a deli on welfare to go to FITM.
Yeah.
That's why you thought you had money.
That's exactly why. And again, it was my mom. My mom just making things happen. She is that person that makes things happen.
You went to FITM already with an addiction.
Actually, yes. And my first time so real quick, funny story. So I didn't know I was in withdrawal, right? So I get out there, get in this apartment. It's beautiful. It's in the Oakwood Apartments. Different bands, when they're there recording, they stay there long term. I hung out with the Used and, just a bunch of different people. I won't name drop, but a lot of people I hung out with. And I would
that name drop just leads you down different pathways, so you don't have to do that.
Exactly. So whatever. So I was doing that, and then I remembered she had these organic eggs. My old roommate, and she was from Austin, Texas. So I eat the eggs, and then I'm so sick, right? So I'm calling home, and I'm like, I'm out here with these weirdos. They eat all this organic stuff. I'm from Fishtown. I'm used to pizza, pretzels, and Arctic splashes. And I'm here I'm in withdrawal because I didn't have perks. I didn't know what withdrawal and detox was. So I detoxed my first time out there not knowing what it was. And then...
How old were you?
19.
19.
I was 19, and I didn't know.
It was one of the first times you didn't have anything going through your system.
Nothing.
You thought it was okay to just get up and just go and you're going to be all right?
Yeah. Suboxone wasn't a thing back then. None. If it was, it wasn't I didn't know
it was
about
black
it.
Market.
Yeah.
I do.
It was 2006. So I don't.
Oh, yeah, it was not at all.
No.
No.
So I didn't know what was going on. You know what I mean? And
So you went out to LA to FITM, which for those, it's the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandise, right?
yeah,
In LA, and you started withdrawing.
started withdrawing. And then, but of course, very quickly started drinking. You know what I mean? And
We'll get through this.
yeah, so the alcohol helped, and then not long before I knew it, like I bought a car out there and was drinking and driving all over LA. Like I figured out what bars I can get into underage, had a fake ID already, you know what I mean? And then it was I started coming home, you know what I mean? Every couple months I would fly home and I would get Percocets and I would bring them back on the airplane with me, you know? So then it was like, but for me, not even just bringing what I needed, like, and again, still in my mind, not knowing I needed this. It was a want for me, but I did need it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, but getting away with it, being a pretty young girl, and I was always dressed real sharp.
You used that to your advantage. You worked that.
Absolutely. Going through TSA, like, and then for me, it was just adding on to like that feeling invincible, like I'm going through TSA and I'm getting away with this, you know? And then I dropped out of school with 3 months left. You know, I made it out there for about 2 years, and I dropped out of college with 3 months left because I had come home and I just wanted to stay back here. Like I just wanted to stay in Philly. I wanted to party, you know?
Were you doing well at school?
So in the beginning, yes, and then no.
No.
And then no, because I didn't really ever go to class. You know what I mean?
Became obsolete to you.
Yeah, I got an apartment in Beverly Hills. I was partying all the time, you know? And it didn't matter to me.
The illusion wears off, doesn't it?
It does.
You're like, if I could party out there, I could party back here.
Exactly.
I could be home.
Yeah.
To the streets that I really know. And
yeah, and that was the thing. Like I was nervous. I still was like young, and I wasn't as brave as I became later on at that time, thank God, because I know I would have got caught up out there, you know? It was still like, let me go back to what I knew. And then when I got back here, it was like just the off to the races. Got the jobs, you know, let me go get jobs as a bartender, as a cocktail waitress at the Ritz-Carlton, because then I can go and I can drink and use every day, but I'm making a lot of money and you can't say nothing to me.
right.
You know
got
what
cash
I mean?
in your pocket for whatever you wanted.
And it's the limelight, you know what I mean? Like I'm hanging out again still with all these people, you know? And then, you know, I lose that job. 4 years I was there, lose that. Because it's like I can't get there on time, and then comes like, you know, the stealing and stuff like that. But I'm always so smart that no one can ever quite catch me, you know.
Were you pocketing?
Yeah. Then it was like I figured out how to like get prescriptions from doctors. Pretty young girl, getting all kinds of prescriptions, you know, making a lot of fast cash, and you know, then I discovered Perk 30s. So it was like all these years of just Percocets, Perk 30s within 6 months.
They were the game changer. The 30s were the game changer.
Yeah, and then within 6 months I was on heroin.
Because you can't afford the 30s anymore.
Yeah.
And instead of spending 30 on a 30, you go to a 10 for a bag.
Yep.
So you go for a bundle, and you know, it's like you have to start doing that math. It's like doing the comparison at BJ's, which is better for your quantity and your buck and all that. And people don't realize that. Like, you know, people like will talk down and talk, you know, and call some real stigma words like, you know, you junkie or you dumbass, you dumb drug addict. But I think they don't realize that most people in addiction are extremely smart.
Absolutely.
I mean, they manage to get by on a daily basis.
Yeah, I know. I look back and I'm like, what the hell? How did I do it? Like,
I know. How did you do it?
I mean, just
because you weren't too slick, because you got caught up in
eventually. We'll get there. Eventually I did, you know. I would steal clothes, right? Like I would go to all my favorite stores and steal clothes, but it wasn't to sell them. It was so I could dress up the outside, because I was always so worried about what everyone thought of me. So it was like, so I could still dress up the outside. I would go steal skincare. I would go steal makeup, because it was about like the image, what I had to sell. That's why I don't really like wearing makeup now, because I don't need to have an image anymore. I still love my clothes. David calls them my toys. They are my toys. But the other stuff, I don't, you know what I mean? And so I I'm doing those kinds of things, and then I was always bartending, and then it was the prescriptions, and that's how I was making money. And then it was like getting people, being the middleman, you know what I mean? Like getting people would call me, hey, you know anyone with Adderall? Hey, you know anyone with Suboxone? You know anyone with this? And I would go get it, and then like you don't do illegal activity for free, so I tack on a little price,
Of course. Always.
and then it was like that kind of thing. And then fortunately, like again, my mom and my aunt helping me out with apartments, and God bless them. Like I would get in these places, and then of course I didn't keep up with the rent because I didn't pay, and bills there wasn't even a forethought. And then I'd get evicted, and then it'd be the next one and the next one. And then finally at 27, they were like, look, we're done. And then I had like a moment of clarity, and I told them the truth. I was like, hey, I sat them down. I'm like, I'm on heroin. And they're like, we know. Like I was the only one that didn't know they knew,
Mm-hmm.
And then that was when the conversation started about going to rehab the first time. And it took me about a week. Like I was technically homeless, but I didn't sleep on the streets. I was couch surfing. And I went to treatment that first time when I was 27. I went to a detox at a hospital and then rehab. And I wasn't but I had no desire to be sober. I just didn't want to be homeless, I just didn't want to be homeless. So that got me in the door because I was very scared of that. And then I remember wanting to be who I used to be before, right? Like I wanted to be successful, right? I wanted to be this. But to be honest with you, my brain was so fogged that I was never successful. That was all mirage. It was all an image. I thought I was, You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then it was, so I started going to meetings and stuff like that afterwards, and I'm in outpatient, and then all this stuff happens. I get everything back really quickly. I get my license back, get my teeth fixed up, put some weight on, get a boyfriend, and then it's all of a sudden I'm I buy a new car, all these really impulsive, quick decisions, right? With no careful planning and really no recovery either. A little bit, but not anywhere to what it is now and became. And then I remember relapsing, and I literally, that relapse, I call it the 8-month run of hell, because even with those 17 years straight, they were nothing compared to this 8 months.
So you just spiraled.
I spiraled. But the worst part about it is that from the moment I did that first bag again, it wasn't oh my gosh, I didn't get that relief. I got what did you do now? Now what? Why'd you do this? And then the next thing is for me, I admire when people ask for help, and I tell them that. When people call me and they say I want to go to treatment, or I talk to them on the streets, I tell every single person I'm proud of them, because I couldn't do that. And I know sometimes they say oh, well, it's your ego that couldn't ask for help. It wasn't my ego, Britt. It was the power of the drugs and the alcohol that I couldn't ask for help. Mm-hmm. Once it's on me, that's it. I can't stop it. I'm in the grips. There's no stopping it. There's no me saying oh, I want to go into treatment. I'm those problem people. That was me.
You have no off switch.
No off switch. As bad as I want to have one. I remember getting in my truck, brand new, Jeep Patriot. I want to go to my apartment in Port Richmond, and I'm driving down the Ave, and I can't stop, and I'm crying, and I'm asking God, whatever's out there, to help me stop, and I can't stop. That was what that 8 months was like. I remember sitting there, the ritual of getting everything together, getting ready to, get high, and then pulling out my big book and starting to read and then pray. And I still couldn't stop. It's just that powerful, In
that 8 months, is that how you ended up in jail then?
Yep. So then
in that 8 month time. Yeah.
So the end of the 8 months. So because there's never enough, I was on unemployment. You know what I mean? There was money coming in. I developed a very bad, crack cocaine habit during that point, and, using cocaine, IV as well, and Xanax and alcohol and everything. Mm-hmm. And I walked into a bank with a demand note, and it said give me the unbanded bills in 30 seconds on a Post-it note, and was given some money and left. And then I got caught 6 days later by the FBI.
You robbed the bank.
I robbed a bank.
How old were you?
29.
29.
29.
And you just walked into a bank with a Post-it note?
Yep.
Was this like well thought out? Was this something you thought about before?
Come on, don't be trying to get me a conspiracy charge.
Is the time limit up yet? Is that statute up yet? You're good.
Yeah, I don't know. No.
Don't worry.
No,
Nobody's
honestly,
listening. Nobody's listening. You're good.
We're in an undisclosed location.
Oh, shit.
No, I was just like driving around that day, and it was like, I remember actually, I vaguely remember. My mom reminded me of this. That I had called her at like 3 p.m. and asked her, like, I was always like, can I borrow money? Everyone can I borrow? I never borrowed.
Yeah,
you
just give me money because I'm not paying you back.
Yeah, but borrow was my jam. I would say borrow. And
Make you feel
I
good.
asked her that, and then it was like, I think it was like 20 minutes later, I walked into the bank. And
did you ever think about that before? Like that day? Was that something you like ever thought of?
I thought of it, yeah.
Or is this like in a drug-induced state?
Well, like, I thought of it, you know what I mean? Because, like, for me, like, I didn't, like, there was some other things that, like, I was afraid to do. But, like, that wasn't one of them.
So,
you know?
And it was a square Post-it note. What did you write on there?
Give me the unbanded bills in 30 seconds. I'm armed.
You told them you were armed, but you were not.
No, I wasn't armed. No. So I got...
Did they call your bluff?
No, they gave me the money.
That's right, because they didn't catch you till 6 days later.
6 days later. The Democratic National Convention was in Philly.
DNC.
Yeah, and I remember, like, it was 6 days later. And it was, like, right around the corner from my mother's house, like, where I went, like, the bank, you know? And, yeah, and I got caught 6 days later. My mom, someone else turned me in, I think. But my mom really turned me in.
Good for her.
I know.
Good for moms.
I know.
May I ask how much you got?
Yes. So I'm a numbers person, right?
There you go. You can't do math, but you know how much money was there.
I know how much money. I can't, but I like numbers. I like numerology. Like, I see like 111s and 555s all the times. So it was $986, which is $14 too short to be 1,000, right? And 1,000 or more, I would have did federal time. So I actually did county time, but was looking at state time. But I did, it stayed within the state, not federal. So 14 means redemption, salvation, too. So I always think of like the significance of that being 14 under 1,000, and that was like where my life changed.
Wow. And
Yeah.
how long did you spend in?
About almost 7 months.
Were you up a street road?
I was up street road. Yeah.
Sorry.
Or state road.
State road, I mean.
State road.
Same difference.
Yeah, state road.
We know where we meant because it's not the nicest place. It's
not. But listen, I always say beauty blooms in the darkest places. Like, that place lights me up. It lit me up. I'm not even kidding. I didn't have the experience of like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, it was dark, but like, I didn't have an experience where like people were mean to me. Actually, one time I remember this girl was like, oh, she just another white girl in here for a dope or a trick and charge. And I was like, I robbed a bank, leave me alone. And they were like, oh, she's a set it off type of bitch. Because I was so sick in there. Like, I was so sick. I went through withdrawal for 3 months because I was also on methadone at the time too. So I didn't mention that, but I was also on methadone, and product of a fax not making it. They're still sending faxes, by the way, but a fax didn't make it to the jail, and I never got dosed again. For me, that was a good thing because, to be honest with you, like, it didn't work for me anymore because I had learned how to abuse that. I'll abuse anything, like caffeine. You know what I mean? Caffeine and nicotine. Like, I'm not paying a bill to get that, but I definitely abuse it. You know what I mean? It's there's definitely some unmanageability, but methadone, I abused it.
Was it Anthony Wilson was on? You know Anthony? Mm-hmm. We trade one addiction for another.
Yeah.
We don't. It's not like everybody's like, oh, we're healed. We're safe. No. You know what? We go to gambling. We go to sexing. We go to caffeine. We go to shopping. We go to Amazon. We do whatever it is. It's just like that domino effect in that aspect. But so you got out of jail, and when you got out of jail, was that when you went on that path? Was that your sobriety path start?
Yes.
That was the beginning. You didn't look back.
No, it
You're
started
like, the
in
hell
there.
with that.
Yeah, it started in there. I started to do meetings in there. The girls got me a big book in there, you know, and I still use that to this day.
Did you make friends in there?
I made a lot of friends. Some of them, listen, they signed it. Some of those girls I've had the pleasure of sponsoring, and some of those girls I've had the pleasure of sponsoring and they died. Some of those girls are still out in the streets in Kensington, and I see them. Some of them have, like, they call me because my number hasn't changed.
Because you switch gears. You switch gears totally from your whole life being in disarray and fucked up to like going back and giving back. Because what are you doing now?
So now I work, you know, in behavioral health, substance use, right? Like I work in treatment. My whole background is working in behavioral health and treatment, and I volunteer. I'm on, you know, some boards, and I, you know, help out, you know, help out with the recovery house, like, you know, whatever it is, like just it might look like talking to families and helping them, walking them through the process and teaching them like what their loved one is going through and how to access services, you know, and then it also looks like meeting people in the depths of hell and help walking them through to access services. Or it might look like some days like praying on, like today, like, you know, I have someone I'm supporting and they are overwhelmed because life on life's terms is hard. And this person was unsheltered for a long time and they lost everything, like all their documents, you know what I mean? And you know how that is. It's like that's a domino effect. Well, I can't get my ID because I don't have my social security card or my birth certificate, and I can't get this because I don't have, you know? So we just literally took a moment on the phone and we just took a break and we counted her wins. We counted every win that she's had since she got out of treatment on Thursday. And guess what? My girl's killing it. There's a lot of wins. And we talked about how it's a process. And then I said to her, do you trust me? And she was like, I do. And I was like, all right, I got your back. Like, it's not easy.
How do you balance it? It's a lot. And I'm talking not just about like all your work. I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about being married and having a child and doing the family thing.
I got a lot of gray hair. I go see Catherine. Catherine, I'm coming to see her this month. I go see Catherine for my roots every couple months. No, I have to be honest and tell myself I've been smoking a little bit more than I should recently. You know what I mean? It's just been I'm not going to get into it, but just very, very stressful time with work.
Your husband is in recovery?
He is in recovery.
And that's two people in recovery in a household. And, you know, so he gets it.
Yeah, exactly.
He gets it.
He gets it, which is really cool. And he's like, you know, my voice of reason a lot of times. And
he's a balance.
Yeah, he is. And we're like complete opposite.
Oh,
which is pretty cool.
I've seen that, and I like that a lot. It's, you know,
Yeah.
he reels you back in a little bit.
He does.
And that's good.
And I'll look at him and I'm like, and even sometimes I'll look at him, like, make the decision. I can't make it right now. And vice versa, you know? But yeah, we balance each other. I got really lucky. And so to take care of myself, like, I do still obviously like my like little self-care, like massage every now and then. I don't go as often as I should, or a facial, but I will, you know, pedicure, stuff like that. Just knowing when like I need to like take a day off and kind of just like retreat, you know, definitely prayer, you know, doing stuff like that, making sure, I make my meetings. Maybe it looks like a day of like, just like clearing the schedule on the weekend, you know?
I know.
Kind of just like hanging out at home. And I have a very sassy, busy 6-year-old, you know, and that could be a little challenging, but like I love our Friday nights together. You know, like we.
So as a family unit, that's your Fridays are your nights together.
Yeah, and sometimes like I'll have like Dave will, you know, go do his own thing, you know, on Friday nights, and it's really like consistently it's been like me and David, like let him have his night.
That's awesome.
Yeah, me and David will have our Friday nights, and you know, like bike riding has been something that we've been doing. He recently stopped. Well, he didn't really need training wheels long at all, but he rides without training wheels, so we kind of just ride around, you know, where we live at, and it's nice, you know. It's very like comforting. Like I love being outdoors. I'm not a hiker and all that stuff, but I like sitting in my yard. I like bike riding now and getting there.
I'll take a bike down to get some cigarettes, go back to my yard, sit there and smoke some. Yeah, you're good.
I have a basket. I put the cigarettes in there. And then sometimes I can't find my lighter, so I got the whole torch light. The candle lighter.
I know what you're talking about, the big one. Yeah.
I don't care.
Do you have a basket big enough for the corgi?
No, Dave didn't get me one. And
Well,
I wanted that.
Will you tell Dave to come pick up that tricycle bike at the hub and get rid of the amp and the speakers and put the basket on for the corgi? You could ride that sucker around the neighborhood.
I want one for my corgi so bad.
There you go.
That's my girl. Listen, I only had a dog when I was like little until I was like 3. So Schubert, I don't remember him that much. But I'll tell you what, my girl, like.
How old is she?
She's 1. Her birthday's April 10th. And so she's 1.
What's her name?
1.5. Luna.
And she runs you because she's a corgi, first of all.
Yeah, I want to get her face tattooed on me. But I have to get David first. But yeah.
Explain that to your kid.
I know.
I love Luna. Mom, hello.
The moon. I love the moon. Yeah, so her name's Luna.
That's awesome. Is she more your dog than Dave's? Or?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was afraid of her at first. We rescued her. And at first I was afraid of her. And now it's like she is totally my dog.
That's because corgis run the house.
They do.
They're the boss.
The personality is
nuts. They are. Did she get thicker? Is she getting thicker?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
She's still little, but she's thick.
They get thick. Corgis get thick.
Yeah.
They got spunk and attitude, those corgis.
They do.
They are.
Yeah, she doesn't like my perfume. She'll smell me, like she loves my neck, putting her head right here. So I perfume one day and she'll like make faces and sneeze and everything. Yeah.
Isn't it funny how dogs can change you? Mm-hmm. Dogs can definitely. I don't know about kids. I never had one.
They do too.
I'm so okay with that. You talk about dogs all night long.
Yeah.
So you have had some crazy times, Racquel. Starting at 12 years of age, up through the age of 29, you've experienced a lot. You knew how to work it. You used it to your advantage, which most good drug addicts do.
Yeah.
Yeah. We work it to our advantage, but you've really turned it around into something positive. I mean, you robbed the bank.
I know.
And you got away with it for 6 days. So you weren't a good bank robber.
No, it was horrible. I was horrible.
So that's because someone turned you in.
Yeah.
How did they know?
Well, I think it was like footage came out. I know it was on the news.
Oh, so your face was on the news.
Yeah.
Do you know this person?
Yeah, with the camera and all.
Was there a reward offered? Did your mom get a reward?
I don't know. I need to find that out.
Oh, let's find that out.
I wish if she did,
Teresa, you get a reward for that? How much?
I want to talk to her and ask her if she put it towards my student loan for me.
That $900.
Let me get that back.
That $986 sure as hell didn't go towards your student loans. So.
I know.
In those 6 days, was that $986 gone?
No, I had $40 left exactly. It was in my back pocket. Yeah, it was that was a bad day.
You didn't have a pot to piss in. You didn't have rent, nothing at all. But you sure as hell spent $946.
Yeah, I know. Well, we went to the casino, and my ex, he used to gamble, so he like doubled it.
Did he know you robbed the bank?
Afterwards, I went back and I was like, "Hey, I robbed this bank. What do you want? I'm going down the way."
What do you want?
Yeah, he was like, "Wait, what?" He fell off the couch. He's like, "What?" I'm like, "What do you want? I'm out." Yeah.
Is this bank still around?
No, it isn't. But I have a good amends story.
Well,
about the bank.
I want to know it then because I was going to ask about that.
Yeah. So so let me go back a little. So went to jail. I did a diversion program. I went to treatment from jail. I was on FAR. Went there. Then from there was like mandated to outpatient, case manager, all that stuff. And then I started volunteering at ProAct. And I was already like going to meetings every day, probably did like way more than 90 and 90, And I ended up getting off of FAR. I went back in front of my judge and got off of FAR in like May. So I was home February to like May, so in 3 months, and then dropped down the probation. And even eventually, so I was on probation. And then I remember my PO, I got a job at ProAct that fall, and my PO was coming in and was sending me people because I was a certified recovery specialist. And she was sending me people to work with, which was pretty cool. And then I like dropped down to like non-reporting probation. And I was paying my restitution all along, like what I could pay.
Did you pay back?
I did. So I was paying it. And then I remember I had David. Was I pregnant with David? Okay. So I was pregnant with, I don't remember if I had David or I was pregnant. It was around the time period. I might have just had David. And I went in front of my judge for early probation termination because I had 3 years probation. It was a 5-year sentence total. It was like 6 to 23 with 3 years probation. And my judge told me at my sentencing, like, if you come back in front of me, you're going upstate. Like, I don't care, dirty urine, whatever it is.
That's where you want to go.
Well, I would have went to Muncie.
Muncie, I mean.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Muncie, which is not even as good, in the middle of Bellefonte.
Right. So I went in front of my judge and I was like, I just became a mom, and things like that. And this is where, what I've accomplished. And I got off probation early, like 2 years early, which was really nice. And then I went on to work for the city. And then after that, where was I going with that? So then I paid off my restitution last year. I remember, and I just remember that feeling, like that final payment was like, oh. And then, so like last year was like my whole like full circle amends. So I was at my sister-in-law's, Dave's sister, her wedding was last November. And I'm there and I'm outside smoking and, the whole family, we're all in the wedding, and I'm smoking with this woman and she's like, oh, what's your name? And I tell her my name and this is my ego. I'm like, oh, she's probably going to say I helped someone she knows. And she's like, you robbed my bank. I was like, wait, what? So then like my face, like I'm pretty tan, right? Pale white. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I'm so sorry. And she's like, no, it's okay. And I'm like, so here I am with the amends. Like I'm getting to make a direct amends right now. And I'm apologizing to her. And I'm like, I'm really sorry. Like I scared you guys. Like that was horrible that day. And we talked about it.
Was she there that day, that woman?
Yeah. She was the bank manager. She was working that day. And she just so happened to be a guest at my sister-in-law's wedding. Mm-hmm.
And she knew who you were. People know like names and stuff like that, but oh yeah, you robbed my bank.
It was insane. It was absolutely insane. And we were talking and we were laughing and I got to apologize to her. And at the end of that, she was like, I've heard about all the good things that you've been doing and thank you for who you are.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And
that's
she was
awesome.
like, and we got the restitution. So when you pay restitution, places do get it back.
They do.
That's true. I learned that day.
That's good. Thanks for our $964, $86, $986.
Yeah, it was a really expensive loan.
It was, yeah, but there was no interest on it though, was there?
A lot of interest. A lot of interest.
About how many years of interest?
Yeah. I told you, I just finished paying it off last year. So.
That's nuts.
Yeah, so I got like the full circle amends of that, and yeah, I have this little record and stuff like that, but I've been really blessed that it hasn't like gotten in my way, and I do anticipate on applying for a pardon eventually, that is on my things to do.
So but people have done a lot worse, and you have changed so much that something like that is really just more, I always say, a character builder. It builds the character of who you are now. Yeah. So you can't really judge that fact of what, you were then. I got to tell you, I love the story. I love the Post-it note. I didn't know this story before. We never really talked about it. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that you told them that you're armed and you weren't. That takes balls. That's amazing. That's sick.
I got a possession of an instrument of a crime for a Post-it note.
Where the hell was the Post-it note?
I think I went to like the dollar store. There was a
heist
that happened before that.
Did you steal that one too?
Yeah, I stole the Post-it note, a Star Wars hat, and a Star Wars bag because in my head, I hate Star Wars and nobody would have thought it was me.
So wait, you stole the Star Wars hat and a Star Wars bag
to put the money in and the Post-it note.
And the hat you wore.
Yeah.
But they still knew you.
Yeah, the flip-flop.
Your mom's like, there's my weirdo daughter with the Star Wars hat.
Yeah. I know, and I had Adidas flip-flops on. So Adidas flip-flops, that is still like my signature when I'm not dressed up. And I had them on, and they were calling me the flip-flop bandit. Mm-hmm. I had a name and all.
I love this.
I can't believe you missed this.
I don't know how I missed this.
Where were you?
I don't know.
In 2016.
Oh, I wasn't even a year into my recovery.
Oh, okay.
I was still like, hey, what's up? What's going
Yeah.
on? Hey, I'm cool. I'm good. Hey, don't worry about me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not too good at that, so
Uh-huh.
I do it. Wow. But I don't remember this, but I do. I'm just going to start Googling this shit now, and I'm going to find out more and more and more because, Racquel, that it's fascinating. And I laugh about it. We laugh about it, and we can laugh about it, but this isn't uncommon. Your story isn't
Not at
extremely
all.
unique.
No.
And I don't mean to sound like that, but like people will be like, wow, did you hear Racquel McNichols' story? That's crazy. That's messed up. Not so much. When people do what we've done and experience what we did, they go to drastic measures, and it just shows you the measures that you can go to when the disease takes over.
Yeah, I would have been dead.
Is it a disease to you?
Huh?
Is addiction a disease to you?
It is. To me, it is because I think, because it is something that I fully am aware. Like, I know the truth of my disease, right? And my truth is, like, once I put one in me of anything, like, I can't stop. Like, I explained that earlier on. Like, I can't ask for help, and it's not because it's my ego that's like, nah, F you, I don't want help. It's because I truly can't stop. So it is a disease to me because that's not, but it's also treatable. And I treat it with my pathway. Like, I treat it with a 12-step fellowship, and that's how I treat it. And like a relationship, I don't go to church. I go to church basements. That's my pathway.
That's enough.
You know what I mean? And I like have my version of God, and my version of a higher power. And my God works through people. And, my God works through, like, whenever we're together, like just us teaming up and things that, like, how you've helped me, like, that's how God shows up, like, through kindness in other people for me. And God also shows up for me through other people's pain as well, and my pain. And there's always, like, a healing moment from that. And I do think it's a disease because it's just something that I'll live with forever, and I have to have acceptance to it, just like a disease.
And I don't know if, for me, I never really thought about it, but, you have you and Dave and both in, recovery. Do you ever worry about David?
I do.
You do?
Yeah, especially, like, because he has his little tendency to tell stories, you know what I mean? But I do sometimes, he's still pretty young, but I will say this, like, recovery is very alive and well in our home. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, David, like, he was baptized. He did go to Catholic school for a little bit, like, in preschool. He goes to public school now. But he, like, prays. Like, we have taught him, like, when you're having a hard time, like, and mommy and daddy aren't around, like, to pray, And, like, I remember him being 3 years old, and we were talking about God, and I was explaining to him who God is, and I was like, yeah, God, like, your God could be in your heart, he could be in the sky, he could be whatever in your toy, whatever you want it to be. And he was like, my God's Batman. And I was
right
like,
on.
Dude, that's the cool part. Your God can be Batman, and like he had like a little resentment with like somebody at school. And I remember I was like laying there talking about it, and I'm like, all right, let me teach them the resentment prayer, like what we have, right? And the resentment prayer is like, God, save me from being angry. How can I be helpful to this person? And I say it to him, and he's like, well, I don't want to help them. And I'm like, I get that. He changed it. He said, God, help me to have good thoughts and take away the bad thoughts, and help them to have good thoughts and take away the bad thoughts. He was 5 when he did that. And like he just turned 6 in June. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. Like I use that now, So like he doesn't know exactly what meetings are like for work. He knows like mommy helps people that are sad, and I help people find houses, That's like the best way I can explain to him. And he prays for people that are sad and people to find houses every night,
At what age do you think you would share your story with him?
I guess probably when he's old enough to comprehend it,
He doesn't think you're badass, you know that, don't you? He's probably gonna make fun of you.
He wants to be a cop.
He wants to be a cop.
That's my karma. My kid has wanted to be a police officer since he was 3.
Talk about full circle. So if you had the opportunity to go back to 11-year-old, just turning 12-year-old Racquel, what would you say to her?
Whew. Yeah, that's one to get you thinking, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I struggled at that time period of not like having a dad. That was when it really started because my dad was incarcerated for a long time. And I would just say, like, I would tell myself, like, what you have is enough, you know? Like, you don't need more. You don't need more. You have everything that you need, you know? You don't need to fit in. It's okay to be different, you know?
I love that.
You don't need more. Like, you have what you have is what, you know, was meant for you to have. And I would tell myself also that it's okay to be like human, because at that time period, like, I really struggled with that perfection. Like, everything had to be perfect, you know? And that's a big thing I worked on in recovery, and codependency, you know? And I would have tell myself then that, like, you don't need other people to make you feel whole.
Ooh, I like that.
You know?
I like that right there.
Because that's what I thought for so long.
That's very cool.
You know, and I'll be honest, my healing with, like, not having a dad didn't go away until I became a mom, right? Like, I thought it did. But, like, when I became a mom, and really when I watched my husband be the dad that he is with our son, I was like, I stopped longing for that because my kid got it. I was like, wow, if I had to go through all that all over again for my kid to have this, I would.
It's worth it.
It was so worth it. So worth it, because he has, and like, the most amazing dad, and that piece of me, like, that healing, I finally stopped wanting it when I watched like that.
Well, I hope you don't sell yourself short, because he has an amazing mother. You do amazing stuff.
Thank you.
You bust your ass. You are out there daily. People don't know this. I mean, you work in treatment. You work, you know, for treatment. You oversee recovery home. We talked briefly about that. But you're also out in the streets. You're out in the streets still doing outreach. You're also giving your time to different organizations to partner with them to ensure that you're there if people need that help. And that's so important. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Just
Hopefully I'll make something one day.
What's that?
The goal is to create something one day.
You already are. You already have.
Yeah.
You created a life for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes we forget that.
Yeah.
So don't sell yourself short once again.
Thank you.
You know, thank you. I mean, this is amazing. I was really glad that you're able to do this finally, that we were able to sit down and talk like this, because, you know, we don't get a chance to peel layers back like this sometimes.
I know.
So, and congratulations on 9 years.
Thank you.
9 years. I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
It's wild. We get to live 2 different lives. You know what I mean? Like, there's just, and like I said earlier, like, I remember my first time in treatment, I wanted to be who I was before. And, you know, the women in my life now taught me, like, you're going to recreate your life to be something better than you've ever imagined. And that's exactly what it was. Like, I don't want to go back to who I was before.
I don't think people understand when we talk about going in recovery. People are like, oh my gosh, you're yourself. No, we're not.
No.
We are something that was much better than what we were.
Yeah.
You know, we are a person that we never met before, and it's a good place to be.
It is.
And it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
You know, figuring that out, because it's a really good journey to be on. And, you know, people, if you ever need help or you ever need assistance, make sure you reach out. Racquel is available out there. If you need information, always reach out to me. Let me know. I can pair you up with Racquel. It's so important. Sometimes it's easier to have, you know, women talk with women. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I have, you know, some of my workforce people, I'll say, talk with Racquel, because it works. But thank you for doing the work you do. Thanks for showing up today. And thank you so much for being a role model that you are.
Thank you for all you do.
I love you. You're
Thank
awesome.
you for being my friend.
Oh, you got that.
I love you too.
Send you the invoice
and
on that one.
everything
You're
you
good.
do.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, it works. It works well.
Because that's how we met.
It is.
You were dressed as Santa on Kensington Ave.
Yeah, it's better than what I used to be dressed out in Kensington Ave back in the day. I wanted to be Santa this time around.
Yeah.
So. It's a different story, but anyway. And everybody out there, remember, there is hope. We are 2 living examples. We are living proof that recovery is possible, that you could take your worst part of your life and make it better and come full circle in life and still feel good about where you're at. So whatever it is you stand for, everybody, make sure you be a voice for that. I'm Britt Carpenter. This is Usla Media. Have a great rest of your day.